Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, what I would like to do is take some drum samples and experiment with ways to kind of humanize them a little bit. And when I say humanize, I don't necessarily mean just by moving everything off the grid slightly, because you can actually kind of do that down here with this humanize button, which we're going to look at. I'm going to do that, but I want to do some other things as well. I want to change the sounds in certain ways so that rather than we just sort of triggering a sample and getting the same sound, we can actually change it a little bit in ways that might reflect certain articulations that you might hear or experience when playing actual physical drums, but using drum samples, or specifically heavily synthesized drum samples. Because, you know, when you hit a drum a certain way, the sound can change very much. In particular, you've got something like velocity. If you hit it really hard, it will sound differently to if you hit it really soft. But also, if you hit it really hard, it might sustain or decay for longer than if you hit it really soft. And the overall timbre, the overall sound of it, the tone of it is going to be different. And I want to use synthesis techniques inside samplers to try and find ways to achieve that. Now, it's not going to come out sounding like real acoustic drums, but hopefully it will sound interesting nonetheless. And we might find some drum beats, some drum loops that will have some interesting character about them that sound like they have a little bit of life. So I'm going to do that with, why is the transport playing? I'm going to do that with this nice fresh selection of drum samples I made today on my Elektron Analog Rytm. We've got some kicks here, some snares, some hats, and these claps and rims, which I've color coded like a Battenberg, because who doesn't like a bit of Battenberg? Oh my goodness me. Right. So yeah, these are all recorded via Overbridge, just some lovely little bits of noise in there you can hear, sort of. They've all got quite a lot of decay on them. And the reason why that is because I'm going to play around with that. Let's listen to some of these snares. Yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, they're very rhythmy. Let's listen to these hats. And then the clap, I only did like a handful of claps. There's only so many clap sounds you can make on the analog rhythm, but these are all quite nice. And then these rim shots, which are sort of donkey, plinky, plonky, dinky donks, sort of. Okay, so let's get started. I'm actually just going to make these all a little bit smaller. Now, I'm going to do this in Live 12.1 Suite. However, I'm going to try at the end of the project to make a version that will work in 12.1 Standard or 12.1 Intro, Light, whatever. Whether that will work or not, I don't know. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. Let's get started. Let's get a drum rack and let's get in. I don't want it to be brown. I want it to be orange. And let's get a sampler. Let's get a sampler in here. Let's get a sampler here on this cell here. And then let's start with the kick drum. So let's go to the zone editor. Let's get all of these kick drums here and drop them all in. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? There it is. Oh, I've got to select them again. Oh my God, that's annoying. Right, okay, let's drag them over to this track and put them in there like that. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to go to the selection tab on the zone editor and right click these and go distribute ranges equally, and now I can change those 16 sounds on that. That's all good. A couple of things I want to do here. Turn the filter off and maybe set the voices to 1. Retrigger can stay on. Really, all I'm going to be doing is playing around with the volume envelope and maybe a little bit of velocity to start position. I haven't quite decided yet, but we're not going to be doing anything else. It's just really this. So I will, yeah, that'll do. Okay, so now I'm going to take that. I'm going to copy that over here. I'm going to go into this one, delete all these sounds, and then copy in all of these snares. So we'll click and drag, put them down there, and then do the same thing. Right click, go to cell, right click and go distribute ranges equally. That's fine, that's good. And then let's do the same here with this one. This will be the hi-hats. So let's go in here, select all these, delete, go to the hats, get those, click and drag it to the drum rack, put it in there. Okay, good. Go to the cell, right click, distribute ranges, okay. So yeah, the reason why I copied that is because whatever set, I mean, I only changed one setting, but that setting will get copied over. Let's keep going now. Let's do the same with the claps. Let's select all of these, delete those, get these claps in here, move those, drag them here, put them in there like that, go to cell, right click, and then go distribute regionally. And then finally one more for the rims. We'll go in here, select all of those, let that, yeah. And then go here, get all these rims, put those in there, go to cell, right, okay, so that's done. Right, so let's make a MIDI clip. Let's actually just close all these down. Make this nice and wide. Let's make a MIDI clip here. And let's get the MIDI clip and the drum rack on the... No. There we go. We can close the zone editor now. We don't need that. So let's start with the kick. Let's just draw in a kick here. Oh, actually, before I do that, I actually just want to map the zone selection on all of these. So I'll go back to the zone editor, right click here, go map to macro 1, and then go to this one here, go map to macro 2, and then this one here, go map to macro 3, and then this one here, go map to macro 4, and then you've guessed it, this one here, go right click here and go map to macro 5. Now I can change, oh, wrong one here. Now I can change all those different sounds there like that. Okay, good. Right, close the zone editor. We don't need that anymore. Where's the button for that? Where's the button? There it is. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at this kick drum here. Right. So currently that's playing at 100 velocity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the velocity not just to affect the volume, but the amplitude envelope shape. And we can do that with the time to velocity setting down here. So let's start by putting this to 127 and setting, we'll pull the sustain down and then set the release all the way up. It doesn't really need to be 60 seconds. Actually, let's just say 2000 seconds, 2000 milliseconds. Right, okay, now let's listen to this. Okay, it's very quiet. So let's maybe put this to 0 dB. Okay. So let's set the volume, velocity to volume to 35%, which is normally what it is by default, but I have it down to 0. Right, let's check our levels. Yeah, it's a little loud. So let's come back down maybe to -8 here. Yeah, that's good. And I'll just come up a bit more on my mixer. All right, nice. So let's actually max out that release again. Right, so you can hear that sample is pretty much fading out from start to finish. Now, if I, let's try bring this time to velocity down to -100. Right. That's interesting. That is interesting. Why is that suddenly louder? Wasn't what I was expecting. Anyway, let's pull the velocity down. Right. There we go. That's quite useful. So as I click that velocity thing there, it's re-triggering the sound. Didn't know Ableton did that. But there it is, it's doing it. So that's probably because I've got that little speaker button on. So why am I doing this? Well, because you will hear that as the sound gets quieter, it actually gets shorter as well. Until it's pretty much just a little blip. Okay, that is really useful. So what we can do is sort of superimpose, synthesize, if you will, the difference in timbre rather than just the volume of the sound when we have a certain velocity, which is just going to make it sound a little bit less robotic and a little bit more fluid and less rigid, or other words that you want to use. So we could try that maybe with like a couple of patterns here. Let's maybe just put like some of these here like this. And then these ones will have slightly lower velocity. Okay, that's sounding nice. Now let's just put a snare in. We'll go to the snare cell and we'll do the same thing. I can't remember what these are. So what we can actually, oops, just muted that. So what we can actually do here is go right click the volume, go copy value to siblings. Right click the velocity to volume, go copy value to siblings. Right click the sustain, go copy value to siblings. Right click the release, go copy value to siblings. And right click the time to velocity, go copy value to siblings. couple of extra So those ghost snares are not just the full snares quieter. They're the full snares quieter and smaller, sort of shorter. So now let's do it with the hi-hats. So the hi-hats, I've only got I didn't really go for an open or closed hi-hat because you can kind of do the same thing with just one sample and one instrument by doing this timing to velocity thing. So if I sort of just draw in a load of hats here like this, and then just maybe just randomize the velocity. How funky does that sound? Let's just listen to that by itself. So even though the sound is quieter, it's also shorter, which is very reflective of when you hear percussionists, they're not just hitting things, going, they're really trying to bring as much out of a single drum as they can. And that's kind of where it gets exciting. We're sort of doing the same thing here with samples and samplers and stuff and synthesis. So yeah, the time to velocity needs to be minus 100 or whatever setting you want. You can dial it in. So let's maybe do a little bit more with these kicks and snares. So let's maybe draw in a couple of kicks here and here and here, and that one will do, I think. Yeah, that'll do. And then for these ones, I'm going to give these kick drums, let's pull these ones down. Let's pull them all down to something like, let's say the minimum is about 36. And then let's apply this deviation. So that's going to randomize the velocity each time a note triggers, which is going to give us a little bit of uncertainty with what it's going to do to the sound. And we could do the same thing with these ghost snares as well. So let's select this one, and this one. Grab the velocity, pull it down, set that to, something about 30, 35, and then increase the deviation there as well by about 46. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, now let's get them all and maybe do the chants, pull the chants down a little bit. Let's ping out the chants tab and pull them all down to something like just under 50%, 40%. Some of these hats are a little too often, and actually let's get them all, set them all to a velocity of something like 25, 30, whatever. Give them a little bit of deviation. Yeah, something like 60, 56. And then I'm going to take every offbeat eighth note. Is that right? Yeah. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And I'm going to give those maybe a 50% chance. So let's see what this is like. Snare's a bit loud. So what we could do is maybe just bring the volume down on the snare to minus 12. I do remember recording the snares a little hot, as they say, hot. Recorded it a little bit hot. Oh, that snare's a bit hot, isn't it? Oh, hot. Oh, it's a very hot snare. Oh, very hot. Now I think I'd like the kick a bit louder. Yeah. 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 All right, let's add in some of these claps and rims then. So we'll have a clap on this maybe. And then maybe a rim here, two rims here. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Let's get all of those. Let's pull their velocity down to around about 25, and then pull up the deviation to around about 50, 60 something, and then the chance down to around about 38. So this could work quite nicely for your IDM electro, where, you know, so this could work well for, you know, your IDM electro or something where you want the beats to change all the time, like, oh, I'm so intelligent. Or maybe you've just got a short attention span and you just like hearing music change constantly, which is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. I enjoy that. This is a way that you can kind of achieve that by not really doing very much. There's no automation required. It's all just good old-fashioned MIDI and a few kind of modulating the envelopes. Another thing that you could do, which I thought, was that you could maybe nudge. So I'm triggering the kick now from my push. So if I hit it really hard, that is full velocity and full release. If I hit it softly, it's quieter and shorter. So one thing you could also do is that you could maybe use the velocity to move the start position, which could affect the timbre even more. So let's we'll go to the MIDI tab on the sampler, go to velocity, go to sample offset, and dial that up to 100. And then let's have a look at the sample. There are all of these samples selected. Let's put that button on. Okay, so now I'm pressing it and it's probably playing right at the end. Why can't I see that? Because they're all selected on yes. So I can't actually look at that one in particular because I'm triggering all of... Oh yeah, I can. Right, let's turn that button off. Right, so now you can see that when I press softly, or actually when I'm pressing hard, it's playing right at the end of the sample. That's not good. So let's go the other direction. Let's go to -100. And now if I play really hard, it's right at the start, and then softer it's later. So maybe -100 is a bit much. Let's try -50 and have a look at that. Let's just see what that's like. No, I don't like it as much. Let's try -25. Yeah, that's good. -10. It's playing later in the sound as well. I wonder if I should put the... let's maybe try turning the re-trigger off. I'm just going to solo this kick here. Okay, so when it's jumping to a different start position, there's a little bit of a click. So let's maybe do like a 10 millisecond attack. That's 10 milliseconds? No, let's do a 1 millisecond attack. 0.5, 0.1, 0.25. Let's try two voices. Okay, let's get back to one voice with re-trigger off. No, re-trigger back on. All right, let's try it with the snare. Let's just see what we can... The snare does the same thing. So we'll go to velocity, sample, offset, and then what do we do on that one? -10. Let's do -10 here. Yeah, that might be too much. No, these are really, really short sounds. So let's just try -1. Yeah. So it sounds like the same snare, just slightly different because it's playing from a different place. Okay, let's try the hats now. Velocity to sample offset. These are slightly longer sounds. Let's try -10. Okay, let's look at the MIDI a little bit. So Max, yeah, we might need to maybe, let's go back to velocity. Where's velocity? Here we go. We need to select that tab there. There we go. So we're not actually at any point reaching peak velocity. Well, I say peak, the maximum velocity. So let's increase the deviation so it's all the way up. And let's maybe bring the velocity down. Yeah, okay, let's do the same thing with the snares as well. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Hang on. Do that one and that one. Let's bring these velocities down. Deviation up. And let's do the same for these rims and claps. Let's pull them right down and the deviation all the way up. There we go. So now we've got the full velocity range covered. Yeah, so it's quieter, it's shorter, and it's starting later according to how hard the velocity is. So there's a hell of a, you can do so much stuff with one MIDI event. Big fan of velocity on this channel, by the way, if you didn't know that. There's so much you can do. We can apply filters and pitch modulation and all kinds of stuff, but I'm not going to do that now. Let's listen to the claps. And then let's do the same thing here. Velocity to sample offset. Let's say this is -2. And then the rims will do the same thing. Offset -2. Okay, let's have a listen. The rims are a little quiet. Let's make the rims a bit louder. -4 maybe. Slightly more probability on these claps and rims. 50%. All right, let's make this sequence a little bit longer, and we're going to do one more thing, and then we'll move on. Where do we do that? Let's go duplicate. Where's the duplicate button? Duplicate. There we go. Duplicate. Duplicate. Let's see what 4 bars is like. Okay, let's duplicate again. And then for this 8th bar, we'll maybe do some sort of wacky fill or something. Fine, let's zoom all the way out and let's play all of that again. Yeah, all right, so I didn't actually adjust any of the humanization, so let's actually have a look at that now. So with this humanize thing, I don't know when this was put into live. I really only noticed it the other day. So I mean, currently, if we turn this up, you can see that they all just sort of slightly move, which is really rather interesting. So I never knew. And is it random or it's the same each time? I think it's the same each time, and it's quite satisfying to watch. It's like they're doing a little dance. Right. So let's try 0, and then just see what happens if we go to 25%. So now it's like a bit sloppy. Let's try 100. Yeah, really sloppy. Let's see what 50%'s like. So what's the difference between this? I should have looked this up. Humanize amount. Inserts randomized variation at the start of time selected notes based on the amount. I don't understand. So if I click that, does it like commit it? I don't know. Inserts randomized variation to the start time of selected notes based on the amount set by the... If no notes are selected, all notes will be... fuck it, I don't know. I'm not going to press that button. I'm just going to set this to 40% and leave it. All right. So if you've come to this video thinking, oh, he didn't humanize anything, that's fair. Really, it's just turning that slider up and down. I really wanted to get into this. I should have called this video something else, really. I didn't know. I couldn't think of a name. I just thought humanizing. I just thought that's a trendy word, isn't it? People are always saying, oh, I heard of humanize, 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 humanize. All right, so the final thing I wanted to do was kind of get the drum kit to randomize the humanizeness of itself by doing the expression control thing. Get the expression control, put an expression control on this cell here, and then I'm going to draw in just a single MIDI note right at the start. Hey, humanized expression control. That might be something for another video. Anyway, so I'm going to, how many have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's convenient because I've got exactly 5 things here. So I'm going to set these all to random, modulate, random, pressure, modulate, set that to random, and then this one to random, modulate, random. Oh, that's a lot of clicking. I can feel the arthritis kicking in. Tonight. Oh, I just hit that. Turn that off. Oh my God, right. It's random here, modulate. Okay, so now I can use these to random the sample selection. So let's click map, random that one, this one, click map, random that one, this one, click map, random that one, this one, click map, random that one. Right, so now every time the loop starts, it's going to trigger this note, which is going to trigger this expression control, which is going to randomize all the drum sounds. We'll get a different kit on each eighth bar. Let's have a listen. Yeah. Might be better to put it at the end. Let's put it at the let's put it at the end here. Maybe that might be better. Might work better. Oh, some of them have got yeah, I remember when I was making these sounds this morning, I put a little bit of can't remember what it was. I think it was a notch filter on the hi-hats, washy hi-hats. I decided. Oh, and a bit of reverb on some of the claps as well. Should probably put a limiter on, otherwise the internet's going to get all cross. Oh, Ned Rush forgot to put a limiter on. Drum machine. Which is a strange thing to say considering I used an expensive drum machine to make these sounds. So there you've got a pretty nice little loop generator. You can just leave that recording and get loads of loops, which I like to do. Just build up huge libraries of loops so that at any point if I'm bored I can just pull in a loop and get inspired maybe. Yeah, at times it's not quite right on the kick. I kind of feel like that. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Just on the kick, I'm going to set it to 2 voices and turn retrigger off. So basically what that means is when retrigger is on, it retriggers the envelope. So if you play a note and then play another one, it's going to reset the previous note's envelope. Whereas if it's off, the previous note's envelope will finish its course, even though a new envelope has been generated. And if you have more than one voice, then that's basically saying you can have 2 different envelopes, 1 per voice. You can have up to 32. It's pretty cool, really. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I think some of those longer release kicks are getting choked out too early. Maybe this will help. I don't know. Let's listen. Yeah, they've just got a lot more movement. Oh my. So I did try and record the kick drums to pitch. I don't know what pitch it was, but I did it nonetheless. So one thing that you could do, and this is not really the best example, maybe I'll do this in another video, but one thing that we can do is actually kind of randomize the pitch. If we put the, we turn the global scale or whatever this thing is called, I don't know, turn this to minor pentatonic and then drop in a random on the kick. And turn on the button here, and let's just say, give us, so we're a minor pentatonic, that's 5 notes. So let's say give us 7 choices, and with a chance of about 50, then it's going to it might do a bass line. It might do a bass line. Not making any promises. All right, let's just see what happens. Okay, let's set this to bi so that the randomization goes either side of the root note. Let's maybe put it to 5 choices. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, the problem with that is I still can't make up my mind about this voices thing. I'm going to put this back to 1, but leave retrigger off. Let's drum bass it and then call it a day. Drum bass it. Right, let's drum bass it. Drum bass it and call it a day. Right, let's get the drum bass. Drum bass. Going to be a little bit less aggressive. Let's go 0.25. Still fucking loud nonetheless. Snare's a bit loud now. -18. Whoops. Yeah, we don't have to do it at 120 BPM. We can go a little bit farther. What day is it? I don't know what day it is. I've not known what day it is for about 2 weeks. Is it 2025 now? Is it Thursday? No, it's Friday. Let's go faster. Let's go 140. loud. Let's maybe make the claps -12. Put some beat repeats in here. Let's put this one to like 25%, and then let's take a copy of that and then put that there, and then make this interval one every quarter note. Set the grid to something like 16ths, the gate all the way down here, something like that. See what that. Goodness me. Set these to like 5%. I don't want those all the time. I was just trying to be flashy. That's kind of it now. I mean, there's I can't really think of anything else to do. So let's just have a little recap, shall we? So really, it's all about the velocity. It's just velocity controlling a handful of things. Well, 3 things. One is the volume, and one is the timing of this envelope, which is the amplitude envelope, which affects the decay and the release, etc., etc. So when the time to velocity is at -100, that means that when the velocity is low, all of this stuff is effectively like minimum. And then when it's at full, it's at maximum. And so with the velocity deviation from the Midi, you get variations in between. And then finally, we've done the same thing to the sample offset ever so slightly, just a tiny little bit. And you could try it with the pitch envelope as well. These have all got time to velocity things. Everything's got velocity here. The oscillator FM, the sample thing, you've got velocity here for that. And you've got timing to velocity there. What else have we got? The filter envelopes have got velocity somewhere. Where is it? That's velocity to time. Where's velocity to amount? I think you might have to do that here. You'd have to go to velocity and then filter amount, filter envelope amount. Yeah, if you wanted to do that. So you've got loads of options. And then we just played around with the Humanize thing a little bit. We could turn it all the way back down now if we want. Oh, that's interesting. It's only done it on do it on these ones. Does that put them all back on the grid? No, they're off. Ah, that's interesting. I don't know how you'd go back. I'm stuck with it now. All right, well, that's it. That's just the way it goes. Changed my mind about the color. I want it to be not that green. I've already used that green. What about this? This. Where's that button to? Where's that button to follow the color? Or is it? Oh, balls. There we go. That's a nice Ned Rush color. There we go. Let's come back down to 120. I know it's Friday, but it's actually the middle of the day. Clap. Right. So what I want to do now before I wrap up is so I'm going to go and put this on Patreon. But one thing I want to try and do in this year is try and make my live sets more compatible for people who don't have Live Suite. So if you're on Live Standard and Live Intro or Live Light or whatever, I'm hoping that you may still be able to download this. Probably not because of the drum bus. Or maybe the beat repeat. I don't know. I made a collection of, I made this collection called Intro. And these are all of the devices I think that are compatible with Intro. And drum bus is not on there. So I'm going to try and make a light version of this rack simply by deleting that drum rack And then doing this cool little trick where you can right click. What about the MIDI devices? Did I do the MIDI devices as well? MIDI effect rack. Yeah, random is in there. Okay, fine. So yeah, you can do this cool thing where you can, so obviously I'm going to do it. This is a duplicate of the track. So let's just make sure that I'm following this right. And let's maybe make this different color, and I'll just rename it. I'll call it light or whatever that version is called, intro or whatever. So what you can do is you can go to the sampler, right click and go sampler to simpler, and then it loads in multi-sample mode, and all of the functionality should still work. We'll give it a test. So we'll go sampler simpler here, sampler simpler here, sampler simpler here. Why do my videos have to be sampler simpler here? Just lots of repeating myself, saying words over and over again. I can't remember if expression control is in live intro as well. So let's see if this works. I wonder if it'll do the expression control sample selection thing. Yeah, brilliant. All right, there you go. So that is how you can humanize your drum samples, or at least, well, I suppose I was being a little bit vague with the term. Obviously, most people think of humanizing as just sort of trying to apply some looseness to the timing. Well, I've done the same thing, but I've applied some looseness to the timbre. Can you see what I did there? Right, I'm going to go put this on my Patreon now, where if you'd like to support me there, you can download this set plus many, many more, going back all the way, nearly 10 years now. And your support is greatly appreciated and goes towards making more videos like this, which I hope you enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks, everyone. Bye.